Hello and welcome to BitBoy Crypto. I am your host, BitBoy. Every single day we make videos on this channel. We would love for you to be part of our community. We call it the Bit Squad. All you got to do, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, because if you don't do that, you're not going to get notified when we have new content. And we would love for you to come engage with us here on the channel. Also, here's a little motivation for you to become a subscriber. We're giving away $500 worth of Bitcoin, but you have to be a subscriber to win. Like and comment on this video and some other videos. You can get the full description of the contest down below in the video description. Okay, guys, so today we're going to be looking at a lot of different stories. It's really been an interesting day on the crypto markets. Yesterday, as I predicted in our news video, or maybe my live stream of Crypto Stash, can't remember where I predicted it, but I knew that I did, that we had probably came close to touching bottom. We were not going to go much further down, and that we were going to go back up. So today we have had an increase of $7 billion in the market cap over the last 24 hours. And I do think we're on the way up. You know, the title of my news video yesterday was Bullish in a Bear Market, because even despite the fact that the price was dropping, I still feel like the market sentiment is good, and I feel like we are going to overcome this bear market here by the end of this month. That's my personal opinion, of course, not financial advice. Do your own research. But that is my personal opinion, and I think today was evidence of that. And one thing that was true in the bull market of January, December, even October, November as well, is that the price was really news-driven. If there was good news coming out, the price was going up. If there was bad news, the price was going down. And what we've seen over this bear cycle that we've been in is that in many parts of it, even though we had really great news coming out, the price wasn't budging. Now, when we had bad news or there was a hack, yes, the price would go down, but we would have some awesome bullish news, like when Ethereum was dubbed not to be a security. That was a big day. We got a big bump that day, but it didn't do much for the price to propel it forwards. So what we're seeing now is some of these news stories are affecting the world of crypto and the market caps. And we're going to talk about some of those stories here in just a second. But want to, dig in a little bit on the markets today. Like I said, we are at 267, almost 268 billion. Yesterday we were at 260. When we did our video, Bitcoin dominance continues to be at a crappy number of 48%. We want that number under 40 for sure. So Bitcoin is up 1%, 1.5%. Ethereum, a lot of gainers in the top 10. IOTA was hit particularly hard yesterday and has had a nice correction and has had a 20% gain from its deep fall yesterday. If we look at the biggest winners of the day, IOTA is coming in at number 2. We're going to talk about a story regarding IOTA, but I don't think that story necessarily was driving this. I do think that it just was a correction because it had a pretty dramatic dip yesterday. Also, Ethereum Classic. We will talk about that one as well, having a great day. A lot of stuff up over 10%, but really most things falling in like the 2 to 8% range, kind of like we usually see on a day like this. So biggest losers of the day, there aren't that many. If it is down, there's only 2 down over 5%. Pivx is down 4%, and Dropple. Nothing is outside of that. Those are the only 4 that are even over 4%. As you can see, like there's a lot of like kind of sideways action losses, but nothing really that significant for the losses of the day. Considering the volatility the market has been in the last couple of days, I'll take that. So, okay, let's look at the biggest news of the day, which is that the New York Stock Exchange announces new global digital assets platform plan for Bitcoin futures launch. And this is more than just talking about a platform by which people can trade cryptocurrencies. They're working with a lot of different companies to actually have some kind of seamless, almost like retail system for crypto. So the operator of New York Stock Exchange is forming a new company dubbed BAKKT, and will work alongside a marquee group of enterprises that include BCG, Microsoft, Starbucks, and others to create the new ecosystem. The intention is to create an integrated platform that enables consumers, merchants, and institutional clients to buy, sell, store, and spend digital assets on a seamless global network. So basically, this is, like I said a second ago, this is more than like, I think if you just maybe read this headline and didn't really dig into it, it seems like this is just more institutional news. And if you're not in the institutional world, the stock market world, the leverage world, all that stuff, then, probably when you're reading some of this, it seems like Chinese. But the really key part of this is right here, is institutional clients to buy, sell, store, and spend digital assets on a seamless global network. Sounds similar to Visa in a lot of ways. You can buy with Visa, you can sell with Visa, you can spend with Visa. You can use, Visa and a debit card in order to store money in your bank account, but that one doesn't relate as much. But the other three are great. This is what we want. We want this to become mainstream. People are talking about what a kind of a revolution it would be if you could buy your Starbucks with cryptocurrency. And, I know we talk about all the time, this is a very male-driven sector of the world right now. Crypto Twitter, like if you're a woman on crypto Twitter, you stand out because there's not many of you. That's not to downplay anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying that, this is a 90% at least male-dominated industry or area, whatever you want to call cryptocurrency, a male-dominated space. And opening up to something like Starbucks, where people could go in there and very quickly just, scan a QR code and buy a mocha latticino or whatever it is that you buy there, then that would open the door for all kinds of different people to come in. Of course, we all know, your basic white girls love Starbucks, right? And of course, I like Starbucks too. But I think that would open up the area or the space for more people to come in and things like that. So you could go in there and you could buy your pumpkin spice latte with cryptocurrency, and that would be absolutely huge for adoption and mainstream. I'm really hoping Starbucks can kind of be one of these companies that leads the charge on this. Because, like I said, who doesn't drink at Starbucks? Unless you say, like, oh, it's overpriced, I refuse to go there. There's Starbucks all over the country. It would be really huge. And, of course, that's not the only company it talked about. Microsoft is another huge one. It would be very interesting to think about how Xbox could happen. If you could make payments and buy things through Xbox with cryptocurrency, which would be really sweet. And, of course, the computer implications as well. Other big story of the day, Coinbase has announced our engineering team is beginning final testing of Ethereum Classic on Coinbase products. We expect final testing to be completed by Tuesday, August 7th, at which point we expect to announce that we're ready to accept inbound transfers of Ethereum Classic. Now, it doesn't say that you will be able to buy Ethereum Classic on there yet. I'm not sure if that is something that we're supposed to assume you can do or if that will be at a different date. Maybe they just mean you can transfer your Ethereum Classic there if you want to exchange it for, Bitcoin or something like that. I don't think you can do that on Coinbase. So I don't really know. Maybe it is going to be, all-encompassing on August 7th. But, of course, the big thing is going to be when they open it up for people to buy it. So I'm not sure if it will be that day or if it will be later on, but that is when we will see a nice pump. But it did get a good 15% pump today on this announcement. And, honestly, I'm happy for Ethereum Classic. I was holding a good bit of it at one point. I'm not right now. I really wanted ZRX to go on at the same time as Ethereum Classic. I want those two to kind of lead the charge, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So a little bummed out about it, but just very excited to see the progress of Coinbase. I believe Coinbase is the key to the whole crypto market, in my personal opinion. So here we have a story about VChain. So introducing VChain's drug and vaccine traceability solution. So in China, there was a huge disaster that they recently had involving vaccines. A lot of vaccines that were manufactured there basically went bad, and yet they weren't, they weren't on the blockchain, so people didn't even know they were bad and didn't know the date on them or whatever it might be. A bunch of people got sick, and not only that, but a bunch of people didn't get the vaccines that they needed. So VChain has now stepped up and is going to be working. They're going to have a drug and vaccine traceability solution to try to solve this problem. Now, if you remember when we did our episode of HODL Trade or Dump, we did VChain versus Walton Chain versus Ambrosis, and I said the problem I have with Ambrosis is it's too specific. It only does pharmaceutical and food on its supply chain tracking system. Now you have VChain. Now they're stepping into your space, Ambrosis, because vaccines and drugs are certainly considered pharmaceuticals. So this is more evidence of what I said before. I think ultimately these larger cryptocurrencies that are going to do more things are eventually going to kind of swallow up the smaller ones. And I think this is just evidence of that. And I do believe that VChain is going to do a good job with this, and it'll be interesting to see how this project turns out. So IOTA, we haven't talked about IOTA in quite a while on the channel. There's been a lot of just interesting news about IOTA over the last several months, including the Cubic project they're doing and things like that. They have had a few hiccups here and there. There's been a lot of FUD spread about IOTA. I haven't been able to validate any of it, so I don't know if it is just FUD or if there is legitimate cause for it. But they are now opening what they're calling the IOTA Hub. So what is the IOTA Hub? It offers a standardized open source solution to these issues using simple gRPC API in a hardened and audited environment. This makes integrating IOTA simple for any kind of service provider. Using Hub, an exchange can be ready to support IOTA in weeks rather than months just by connecting Hub to their existing trading platform. So basically, if you're a service provider and you're interested in being part of the exchange of IOTA, then this is going to be a way that's going to make that process much easier and much faster. Look at what we're talking about with Coinbase and Ethereum Classic and Coinbase and all these other additions they're doing. Technically, I guess it's not really an exchange, but it takes a long time logistically to make those types of additions. So what IOTA is doing here is making it easier for people to basically use, trade, sell IOTA on all kinds of different platforms. So it will be interesting to see if this kind of speeds up the project. I think it probably will, honestly, if you're offering a quicker solution for people to be able to add you to their exchange and their trading platform. So very interesting. Keep your eye out for IOTA. A lot of people really like this. It had a big day today, obviously, as we talked about. And, I'll just say I like what IOTA is doing. And this is what separates, I think, my channel from a lot of different channels. Is my channel, we kind of give you unbiased information about the different projects. And I'll throw in like, hey, this is unbiased information. But yeah, I do like what they're trying to do. And I'm not going to shill anything to you. And on the other hand, I'm going to tell you the things that I like about the project. And I do like what IOTA is doing in terms of their use case. The example they use on their website is with solar power. What if you have a solar power farm or a solar power producing plant, and you have extra and you want to outsource that to other people, and then other people have just a small need for that solar power? Shouldn't there be a way they can kind of get it on demand instead of paying some astronomical price for a service? So I think the complicated thing with IOTA is the Tangle system that they're using. It's not a normal blockchain. It's actually not a blockchain at all. So it'll just be very interesting to see how IOTA develops, if they're able to do what they say they're going to do. I'm very big on telling you guys what a project is trying to do and then saying, hey, we'll just have to see what happens. Obviously, we don't have working products all across cryptocurrency right now. We have some that are starting to pop up and are doing a good job. But like I said, I think IOTA is just one to keep your eye on for sure. So, okay, we have the last story of the day. We're looking at Dr. Bill Lee of Matrix AI Network. I'm still trying to get them on the channel to help establish China national blockchain standards. So basically, those standards would include the conference objectives related to the Blockchain Reference Architecture, or BRA, establish members of the working groups and methodology, introduce the background of international BRA standards and group standards, discuss the principal thought about the international BRA standards, and clarify the work assignment related to international BRA standards. So basically, they're trying to come up with some kind of, not necessarily regulated, but normalized version of standards that we need for blockchain, specifically within China. And, it seems like to me that the Chinese government has really been working with a lot of different projects recently. They've been working with the Key as one. Specifically, there's a lot of talk about Walton Chain with the Chinese government. Some of it's a little conspiratorial. But now we have Matrix AI, a Chinese project, also talking about working with the Chinese government. And then, of course, we just talked about VChain trying to help out in the situation with the Chinese vaccines. And I think that China is really understanding how to embrace cryptocurrency. I don't think that they like the power to the people aspect of cryptocurrency, I would say for sure, being a communist country. However, they are starting to see how it may be able to make their lives easier. And why do I say all this? The United States needs to get its act together. I believe the United States has a good chance to be left behind in this revolution if we can't get these ETFs passed, if we can't start figuring out a way to do things like make payments, or, we talked about the campaign funds yesterday that were banned in North Carolina. You can't make campaign contributions for an a political candidate with cryptocurrency. So all of these things are things we need to figure out. We had the Winklevoss Twins ETF being denied. Basically, Hester Pierce from the SEC came out at that point and said there's no reason why this was not approved. It's time that we get on and make this happen. And I really believe that. I believe it is now the time that we start embracing this technology. We do have some stories of this working. We, of course, did have Factum getting a contract or a grant, I can't remember exactly what it was, with the Department of Homeland Security to do identity verification and things of that nature. So we have had a few stories in the United States, but it seems like most of the ones we're reading with partnerships and governments working with crypto are coming out of Korea and specifically with China as well. So I think it's time that we jump on board, we jump on that blockchain, and we ride it as far as we can ride it. And, you know, I don't want to get left behind. I know a lot of our viewers are international, but here in America, you guys know we like to be number one. So hopefully we will find a way to embrace the technology and not get left behind, because that sure would suck if the downfall of the superpower of the United States of America was because of a small, tiny little thing called Bitcoin, aka blockchain, aka cryptocurrency. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smash that like button. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. And when you get the notifications, come on over to the channel. We'd love to talk to you, see you, and things of that nature. Don't forget to enter our contest. Until next time, BitBoy out.